The Open Broadcast Feature category recognizes those entries that are predominantly audio and/or video from any Canadian media outlet broadcast over the air or online to an audience of any size. Entries have a runtime of over 5 minutes and are in feature formats. There are 5 finalists in this category. Our first finalist is Holly Moore with her entry titled "The Cure Was Worse," broadcast on APTN Investigates. When Inuit were diagnosed with tuberculosis, the response was to ship them south to sanatoriums, where the isolation, mistreatment, and living conditions often weren't better than back home. Few were those who returned from one of these trips, but their families are now fighting for recognition. Listen to Joan Morris explain.
Or they did so much to you, the trauma and everything else, that it made our people pliable. So that's when I became a spokesperson. I wasn't ready to go into this, but I knew the history. And with my own mom and dad, my aunts and uncles that couldn't talk about it, that then I came to the forefront and started saying, hey, this happened.
The second finalist also had his work broadcast by APTN Investigates with the entry "Killer Pain" by Rob Smith. Smith dives into the fentanyl crisis through the stories of several Indigenous people, telling not just how their addiction is playing out, or played out, but also reaching into how their backgrounds shaped those stories. Julian Bainan's dad, Jack, explains.
In family pictures, the Bainans look like any other family. Vacations, birthday, and holiday celebrations. But behind the smiles, pain. The parents suffered from their own demons.
We both walked it, like we both hit our bottoms 25 years ago.
Both are residential school survivors.
I guess he was maybe 7 years old, when we sobered up, somewhere around there.
The next finalists are Harvey Kashor, Kimberly Ivani, Gillian Findlay, Loretta Hicks, Frédéric Zelac, and Martine Bourdeau of CBC News' The Fifth Estate with their entry, "The Untouchables." Those Untouchables? People with lots of money, and the accounting firm that created an offshore investment vehicle as a way of dodging taxes.
In the U.S., KPMG paid a price for the tax evasion schemes it concocted. But in Canada, a different scheme led to a secret deal. KPMG and its clients off the hook.
Do you think there was political interference?
I do believe there was.
Will reveal new details about the scheme. And for the first time, will name some of the well-heeled Canadians who profited.
The fourth set of finalists are Chiral Tobin, Johanna Wagstaff, Polly Leger, and Lee Rosevier with their podcast titled 2050 Degrees of Change, broadcast online by CBC News Vancouver. It's a compelling setup. A meteorologist, tired of answering with explanations when someone inevitably asks, "So, is climate change real?" Script a narrative forward to 2050, and Wagstaff explains how the series responds.
In this podcast, we're going to explore how BC will be transformed by climate change in just 3 short decades. From how our glaciers and mountain snows will change our waters, to what rising temperatures and creeping seas mean for our farmland and rivers, how climate change will transform our cities, our forests, and our society.
There'll be hotter summers, and we'll see the kinds of heat waves we've not seen before.
We're going to have to improve the diking system. We can't exactly give away Richmond to the sea.
If those glaciers aren't there, we've lost an important legacy of natural heritage of the Canadian landscape.
The fifth set of finalists is Sam Fenn, Alexander B. Kim, and Travis Lupick for their entry, "The Heroin Clinic," broadcast on the Cited podcast and published by the Georgia Straight. The team takes us to the Crosstown Clinic in Vancouver's notorious downtown east side, where physician lead Dr. Scott McDonald explains their decisions on addiction treatment.
How crazy did the idea of giving heroin to people who are addicted to heroin sound?
It was, yes, people very early were incredulous at the idea.
What was the argument you would make to them?
Well, I would make the argument, what do you have to offer? These people are currently injecting heroin in alleyways, facing overdose and risk of disease and causing all kinds of problems for the public. Why wouldn't you want them to be getting the heroin from a doctor to bring them in off the street and in contact with the healthcare system?